Hello and welcome to another little bit of Satoshi's news. Today's day is Thursday, the 18th of September 2025. The year BSV comes alive. Branch of threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai. All your posts put on chain. Right, I had to do another one today just because there's so much that actually needs reporting on. That is absolutely fantastic. So Wags here says, over the past 8 months, I've had the privilege of working directly with Money Cash team to build tools that make it possible for any developer to get started with a money stablecoin. Not a blockchain developer, you are now, so that looks absolutely ace. Check this out, Rafael Laverde saying Bitcoin Office just landed. Instead of Google, we've now got Boogle, which is Bitcoin Google. Look at this, like Bitcoin Draw, Drive, Bitcoin Exchange, Mail, Music, Paint, Pics, Registry. It looks absolutely awesome. Like a whole set being built, almost like a Microsoft Office. But if everything gets put on chain, it's absolutely phenomenal. We've even got Excel spreadsheet. Imagine, look, you can put Excel spreadsheets on chain. They can't be cracked, tagged, altered, changed, or deleted. You now have a historical record of all the entries. I mean, this is just absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Talking about things that are huge, this is gold. Literally, we've actually got Luke Dash Jr. admitting that they forked BTC. Look, clearly false. Since we did fork it when it made sense to do so multiple times. And this was literally just yesterday he admitted this. So this means that BTC is the fork, as we've been saying all along. And BSV is the genuine Bitcoin that they've been denying, but they've just admitted BTC is the fork. Unbelievable. That's the actual legitimate post there. We've got to talk about this. WinMyX saying breaking Binance is dumping BTC right before the Fed rates cut to liquidate longs. That looks pretty epic. And then also, I said this is why the world needs Bitcoin. Rebel News says that 2025 election irregularities unacceptable, says Chief Electoral Officer. He says that complaints surged 64% from 9,410 in 2021 to 15,400. And we've got this article here from Rebel News that we'll look at. We've got Anna's article here on Substack saying abridged signals amidst the noise. That's an abbreviation of the article that she wrote. Cointelegraph has got some interesting articles here that we'll have a look at. What did I see? ASIC's eases licensing rules for stablecoin distributors in Australia. 7 reasons why Bitcoin mining is a terrible business idea. Smart money is betting on deep in across emerging markets. Institutional adoption faces blockchain bottleneck. How to use Bitcoin whale awakens after 12 years. Transfers 1,000 BTC before US Fed meeting. Shift Securities backing from a Cointelegraph Accelerator. Binance seeks Department of Justice deal that could end 2023 compliance monitor report. I'll have a look at some of those. Got to have a quick look at the figures just to see what's going on, because something's happened here. Look, Mining Dutch normally 0.68%. Suddenly they're at 33.56. Like, what? Something's gone on there. So again, I was just looking at the hash rate, but can't see anything yet because I think that might be too soon. And then some 365 days of Bitcoin history. That this comment from Luke Dash Jr. literally will go down in history. Clearly false. We did fork it when it made sense to do so multiple times. Segwit, Taproot, all the other bullshit, all forks. All forked. BTC is the economically worthless, forked fraud Bitcoin. That's what it is. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
All right, here we go. So put hearts up to this. Wag saying over the past 8 months, I've had the privilege of working directly with the Money Cash team to build tools that make it possible for any developer to get started in money stablecoin. Not a blockchain dev, you are now. What will you build? Look at these docs here. This looks awesome. This looks awesome. Getting started, introduction, quick start, authentication, get configuring, check balance, get UTXOs, transfer. Transfer multi. Oh, God, I wish I could just absorb this and take it all in. It looks awesome. It looks awesome. So again, I mean, the guys at Money have dealt with a troll coming at them the other day. They were like, oh, Money's not working on BSV. Well, yeah, that's because they're running on one sat ordinals. You know, was the comeback. So sounds ace. Check this out. Rafael Laverde says Boogle trademark. Bitcoin Office just landed. Look at this. Bitcoin apps. So we've got Bitcoin. Is that Bitcoin Authenticator? Bitcoin Chat, Bitcoin Domains, that's going to be huge. Can you imagine? Bitcoin Raw, Bitcoin Draw, Bitcoin Drive, Bitcoin Email, Bitcoin Exchange, Bitcoin Music, Bitcoin Paint, Bitcoin Pics, Bitcoin Registry, Bitcoin Shares, Bitcoin Spreadsheets, Bitcoin Video, Bitcoin Wallet, Bitcoin Writer. Oh, wow. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, can't wait to see that develop. Again, I touched on this before. That's the Bitcoin email. And this is the spreadsheet. Bitcoin spreadsheet. I'm massively excited about this. Literally, because there's no reason for anybody not to report a figure as soon as they get it. We know that the cabal lie and cheat about absolutely everything. So, medical records, stats, records of anything, in sort of society, which the Office of National Statistics are now hiding from us. Everything should be on the Bitcoin network so we can see absolutely everything. They wouldn't be able to fudge the figures, or if they did fudge the figures, we'd be able to see when and then work out what the true figures are. So this is just going to be absolutely epic. Absolutely epic. Here we go. This is absolute gold I've put on here. Can you believe this? So this guy, David Seroy, said here, Knots folks don't have the balls to try a fork. They're too soft. Luke Dash Jr. said, we don't have the motive to try a fork. That's not the right goal now, nor the stupidity to try one without community support. Stop trolling. You're the one who wants to fork. And then this guy here, Le Denier Gateau, said, you ain't got the balls, mate. And then he admits it straight up. He says, clearly false, since we did fork it when it made sense to do so multiple times. Multiple times. BTC is the fork, as we've been saying for years and years and years, and they know it. And he's finally literally slipped up and admitted it just because he's trying to prove himself. Oh, yeah, you ain't got the balls. Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah, we forked it already. Nice one, mate. Well, now you need to admit that BTC is the fork and it's economically worthless because you've securitized it, you absolute goon. I wonder how far this will go, because I mean, this is just absolute epic. Absolutely epic. This was the actual post here itself from David Seroy. That's the one. It's literally there. It's legit. It's legit on Twitter or on X, whatever you want to call it these days. Right, let's get on with this. That was just absolutely massive. Check this out. So Winrex is breaking. Binance is dumping BTC right before the Fed rate cuts to liquidate longs. Total manipulation. Don't get shaken out. Well, shaken out. Look at that. Look at what's going on. So this was actually yesterday, but it's got 233.2 views. Look at this. BTC. 10 BTC. 1 million. 1 million. 15 million, 3 million, 2 million, 2 million, 1.9 million, 5 million, 15 million, 4 million, 2 million, 4 million, 2 million. My goodness me. I mean, it literally just goes to show you like how much Bitcoin has actually made all those douchebags who literally got in at the beginning and were just buying Bitcoins for pennies on the dollar. I mean, literally pennies on the dollar. It's crazy, but have they split their coins? Do they have the original genuine BSV? I doubt it, because I think the exchanges have stolen them all. That's what I think. The exchanges have probably split the coins for them, stolen them, and then used them to artificially suppress the price of BSV since 2019. Like 6 years. 6 years of suppression. That's why they got OKX to delist it, just to sort of like stock up on their stockpile that they need to use to suppress the price. But they can't do it forever because the supply is fixed. This is why they're hurrying so fast and making so many mistakes. And check this out. So this was in relation to, just below that one, Rebel News saying 2025 election irregularities unacceptable. Chief Electoral Officer says. So let's read this then. 2025 election irregularities unacceptable, Chief Electoral Officer says. September 17th. Chief Electoral Officer Stefan Perrault acknowledged unacceptable irregularities in the April 28th vote, including misplaced ballots, website crashes, and random poll closures. That's absolutely outrageous. This following complaint, which surged 64% from 9,410 in 2021 to 15,400, according to Blacklocks. Quote here, "We saw things we hadn't seen before, errors that hadn't been seen before," said Perrault. His report on the 45th general election noted 36% of returning officers and 73% of poll workers were inexperienced. The acknowledgement comes after media report that Elections Canada declined over 43,000 mail-in ballots received after the April 28th election, 6 p.m. Eastern deadline. The agency did not specify the ridings where these late ballots were cast in an election that led to judicial recounts in 4 ridings. That is absolutely outrageous. They should be given all day. But this is what's going on. So Perrault's report confirmed that 467 mail-in ballots were mishandled and excluded from the official count in Cape Breton, Canso, Antignoshi, NS, and Northumberland, Clark, Ontario. The ballots were found after results were validated when Elections Canada offices were closing. Absolutely outrageous. Perrault apologised on May 7th after 822 mail-in ballots across 74 contests were left uncounted in Coquitlam, British Columbia. The agency claimed these ballots didn't impact riding outcomes. Elections Canada couldn't confirm timely mail-in ballots dispatched, citing a lack of tracking mechanisms. According to Elections Canada, 7.5 million Canadians voted at advanced polls, a 27% increase from 2021. Ballot shortages occurred in West Vancouver Sunshine, Coast C to Sky Country, Yukon, and Yellowhead, Alberta. This led to temporary delays at 4 polling places, wrote Perrault. In response, Elections Canada implemented contingency measures to ensure electors could still vote, including authorising the local printing of emergency ballots. Like, what an absolute joke. I can't be bothered reading the rest of that because the only way they're going to sort this out is by using Bitcoin. In fact, maybe that's what we need here for Google. We need Bitcoin elections. Bitcoin voting apps is what we need on there. Right, so quick look at abridged signals amidst the noise. This is an essay. This essay is an abridged version of a longer signals amidst the noise. Our world leaders quietly setting the stage for public utility blockchain, created for the busy reader who is less interested in the detail. The noise and the signal. In recent years, world leaders and institutions have become fluent in a vocabulary once reserved for technologists. Bitcoin, blockchain, crypto. At first glance, this looks like political hype, but the frequency and the context reveals something deeper. Amidst the noise, signals are being sent, the outline of lawful, neutral, and scalable blockchain public utility. Only one blockchain fits that description: Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, BSV, the original Bitcoin. Bukele and the prototype nation. When El Salvador declared BTC legal tender in 2021, critics called it a failure. Adoption was low, the system faltered, and most Salvadorians never used BTC. But the true signal was not in the outcome, but in the act. A nation had adopted BTC and was not punished for it. The taboo was broken. Bukele may have been nudged towards the wrong chain, the decoy BTC, but by opening the gates, he made it impossible to close them again. The multipolar push. At the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Narendra Modi spoke of new digital platforms, independent payment systems, and multipolar sovereignty. A new SCO, Digital Economy Cooperation Platform, was launched with calls to advance hard connectivity of infrastructure, soft connectivity of digital rules and standards, and heart connectivity through shared talent. Their words point towards the need for a neutral infrastructure capable of cross-border settlement at scale. Beyond Western control, only BSV can provide that. Absolutely. Signals from the Middle East, even Saudi Arabia, anchor of the petrodollar system, is experimenting with digital assets. These first steps are small but symbolically important. They suggest that even the core of dollar order is exploring digital sovereignty, which in the end requires lawful neutral infrastructure. Absolutely. Ripple, Stellar and decoys. Meanwhile, Ripple and Stellar dominate headlines. Ripple markets itself as a cross-border settlement tool, and Stellar presents itself as a humanitarian-friendly payments network promoting financial inclusion. Both appear institutional and polished, attracting financial institutions and NGOs alike, but they're not neutral, immutable, or commodity-based. Their governance depends on foundations and issuers, making them political non-starters for true sovereignty. They are decoys, distractions, buying time while the only real public utility blockchain matures outside the spotlight. Absolutely. Ripple and Stellar illustrate the noise with corporate issued tokens dressed up as decentralized yet structurally dependent on their foundations, relying on discretionary issuance and mutable governance. By contrast, the BSV Association embodies a different model entirely. Neutral custodianship without issuance. Its task is not to mint coins or change rules, but to safeguard the protocol itself, ensuring fidelity to Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper. This distinction is critical. The former systems require faith in their administrators, while BSV relies on immutable rules that no administrator can alter. The BSV Association in Bern. Here's the BSV Association plays a quiet but vital role in its base in Bern, Switzerland, the world's largest hub for commodity trading, which resonates with BSV's role in commoditizing digital data. This model aligns with Switzerland's ethos of stable custodianship and non-partisan stewardship. The BSV Association does not issue tokens but safeguards the immutable Bitcoin protocol. Its recent ISO IEC 27001 certification signals to governments that BSV's custodianship meets, it's not really custodianship, stewardship, meets the same standards as major institutions. Neutrality and credibility are built into its structure. Policy and infrastructure advocates around the association, individuals like Brian Doherty and Mitch Burcham are embedding BSV into cybersecurity grid resilience and national security frameworks. Their presence in official institutions shows that BSV is already being considered as multi-grade infrastructure. Trump and the statute and the smoke screens. Perhaps the loudest signal yet was political theatre. The erection of a 12-foot golden statue of Donald Trump holding a Bitcoin outside the US Capitol 17 September. Trump speaks of strategic Bitcoin reserves in America as a Bitcoin superpower without specifying which Bitcoin. The ambiguity rallies culture while leaving technical specifics undefined. Eric Trump, meanwhile, addresses crypto conferences, echoing Bukele's role, broadening acceptance while insiders set the stage. The Clarity Act in South Carolina. The US Clarity Act introduced the concept of mature blockchain, one with pre-established rules, long-term resilience, and no discretionary governance. By definition, that excludes ETH, Ripple, Stellar, and BTC. Only BSV qualifies. Absolutely. Similarly, South Carolina's Digital Asset Recovery Bill defined Bitcoin not as BTC, but exactly as Satoshi described in his white paper, peer-to-peer electronic cash. Signals from a broad legislative activity as global. Dubai, Singapore, Bermuda and EU, all redefining digital asset law. Pakistan has gone further, creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve and allocating energy resources to blockchain mining and AI infrastructure. The Czech National Bank has openly considered Bitcoin as part of its reserves, hinting at a shift from speculation to lawful infrastructure. The BIS report and patents. Perhaps most decisive of all, the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, in June 2025 outlined its vision for a next-generation monetary system which can only be met by an immutable public utility blockchain, BSV. Such systems cannot escape intellectual property. nChain holds one of the largest patent portfolios in blockchain, covering digital identity, tokenization, and data integrity. Reggie Middleton holds patents on peer-to-peer transfers and atomic swaps. Together these estates map back to the original Bitcoin design, today preserved only in BSV. Any attempt to build a new global rails must pass through these gates. Proof of work and energy. While only BSV fits the bill, What's this? In Europe, attempts to ban PRE were pushed back. The case for BSV is clear. Scaling increases efficiency, lowering energy use per transaction. The very feature BTC abandoned in what makes BSV lawful. Suitable infrastructure neutrality is enforced not by committees but by computation and financial incentives. Why only BSV fits the bill. To decode these signals and put things into context, one must understand the technical architecture that makes BSV unique. One Genesis block and 21 million supply. Yep, BSV's 21 million coin supply was set in the Genesis block, structured as an offer to the world. Coins must be mined into circulation through the solving of cryptographic puzzles. Proof of work and financially incentivized, not granted by an issuer. This makes BSV a commodity. The coin exists in its own right without issuer or sponsor support. XRP, XLM, ETH all rely on discretionary issuance and they are not mined. Instead rely on consensus protocols, disqualifying them. Absolutely. Two orphaned protocol. After Genesis, BSV was left without a parent. Its existence is managed by a fixed set of rules. There are no foundational empowered to change its rules. This orphan structure is the required foundation for a decentralized network. The rules are fixed, not negotiable, nor subject to external influence. Protocol integrity is maintained by economically incentivized miners operating under clear rules, ensuring neutrality rather than discretionary control. Immutable rule set. BSV restored and locked the original protocol. Immutability is not cosmetic, it's the legal foundation for contracts, records and property rights. Other chains frequently mutate, undermining finality and disqualifying them from public utility use. The BSV Association acts as the guardian of the immutable Bitcoin protocol. Chain of digital signatures. Every transaction contains a digital signature linked to its prior owner, creating a verifiable chain of custody. This is what enables the commoditization of data. Transparency, ownership can be traced. Provenance, history cannot be falsified. Very true. Privacy without secrecy. Individuals can transact privately, but the integrity of the system is public. This aspect often goes unrecognized, but it is a key feature enabling digital data to behave as if it were a physical asset. Other ledgers are just advanced accounting tools. Without a chain of signatures recorded on the blockchain, data cannot be transformed into lawful, traceable, commoditized assets. Well, data, what she's referring to there is the Bitcoin itself, the NFT data. Because BSV uniquely enables digital data to function with the attributes of a physical asset, transparency, provenance and traceable custody, it naturally falls under the scope of existing property law. Ordinarily, rights and remedies that apply to tangible assets can also apply to BSV-based digital assets. This sharply differentiates it from other blockchains which require bespoke legislative constructs to govern their tokens. With BSV, the law does not need to be reinvented. The ordinary legal principles concerning personal property will generally suffice. The BSV Association Digital Asset Recovery Framework reinforces this, enabling assets on-chain to be frozen or recovered if they are lost or stolen by using existing legal frameworks and applying them to the digital space and blockchain technology. Unbounded scalability and proof of work neutrality. Let's see, we might better get it finished. BSV removed arbitrary caps. It scales to millions of transactions at minimal cost, making microtransactions not only possible but the norm. This opens up entirely new ways of structuring our economy. Critically, this scalability strengthens decentralization. The greater the transaction volume, the greater the economic incentive for miners to secure the network. As transaction fees grow, they supplement and eventually replace block subsidies, ensuring that the incentive to maintain the system scales in direct proportion to its global utility. In this way, economic alignment between miners and users becomes a win-win mechanism. Network growth drives profitability, and profitability secures the network. Yeah, very true. Neutrality is not an abstract ideal. It must be enforced structurally. Proof of work is the only consensus mechanism that guarantees this. Other models, proof of stake, validator, committees or foundation governance inevitably concentrate control. They may dress it in terms like validators, governance tokens or staking rewards, but at their core they rely on discretionary authority. In such systems, neutrality is a narrative and not a reality. As an example, Stellar claims openness and participation, but its own performance data show that as network or participation demands grow, the structure becomes more centralized and risk of failure increases, a gap between promise and reality. In contrast, BSV's model is built for immutable rules and proof of work, which do not depend on trusted validator selections. Yeah, proof of work. IPv6 peer-to-peer networking. BSV is the only blockchain that supports direct IPv6 to IPv6 transactions, enabling device-to-device interoperability, making it the architecture backbone for the next internet and digital economy. Together, these elements define BSV as the only mature, commoditized, lawful public utility blockchain. This immutable structure designed for scale, economic activity, anchored in structural neutrality, economic incentive, legal visibility, and global node distribution, uniquely positions BSV as the infrastructure to build upon. It can serve as a jurisdictionally agnostic base layer for stablecoins, sovereign digital cash systems, and global public infrastructure without compromising the regulatory autonomy of any participant. The hidden signal. Taken together, Bukele normalized sovereign adoption. SCO leaders call for multipolar platforms. Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Chechnya are moving. US law now recognizes mature blockchains. The BIS vision aligns with BSV's immutable design and end-change patents. Dormant BSV wallets resemble strategic reserve. Amidst the noise, the signal is clear. Governments and institutions are beginning to frame Bitcoin not as a speculation, but as a lawful infrastructure. When the time comes, there will only be one chain fits BSV. Oh, beautiful. What a fantastic article that was. Brilliant. Right, it's 26. Let's have a quick look at some of the editor's choice here. ASIC eases licensing rules for stablecoin distributors in Australia. ASICs? 7 reasons why Bitcoin mining is a terrible business idea. Well, it certainly isn't at the moment. That's because it's just BTC. Smart money is betting on deeping, whatever. Institutional adoption faces blockchain bottlenecks. Bitcoin well awakens after 12 years, transfers 1,000 BTC before the US federal meeting. A Bitcoin well awakens after 12 years, transfers 1,000 BTC before US Fed meeting. A dormant Bitcoin well moved $116 million of cryptocurrency ahead of the Fed's key interest rate decision as crypto traders brace for volatility in global markets. A long-term dormant Bitcoin well moved $116 million worth of cryptocurrency after 12 years, just before the US Federal Reserve closely watched interest rate decision. The unknown whale woke up after 12 years of dormancy to transfer 1,000 Gregcoin worth around $116 million at current prices, which he initially acquired for about $847 per coin. The BTC was worth around $847,000 at the time, which the whale hodled for over a decade before transferring it to new wallets on Wednesday, according to blockchain data from Look On Chain. The over 100 million transfer occurred shortly before Wednesday's upcoming Federal Open Market Committee meeting, a highly anticipated event that which may deliver the first US interest rate cut of the year. Crypto traders brace for market volatility ahead of what was that again? Federal Open Market Committee. Ahead of Federal Open Market Committee meeting. Market war, I can't be bothered really anything about the market, absolute bullshit. But yeah, there we go. Right, let's have a quick look at these figures then. 19, 16, 58 megabyte block. 52, 51, nice, that's all right. 48,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Greg. Oh, 6.2% more profitable to mine on Bitcoin in comparison to Gregcoin. We'll take that. We will take that. And let's have a look at the politics in the pie charts. Global hash rate 7 days, 24 hours. Gregcoin hash rate, other miners 6.94. B crash, look at this via BTC and SBI crypto. 38 and 33. Good grief, that's like 72% of the market between those two. Fisher price cash though, oh, other miners back up to 70% on there. And CoinDance not reporting the figures there. Let's have a look at the transactions here. Still in second place on the overall market. Unbelievable, just second place behind Ethereum, 681. We will smash Ethereum when the time comes. Literally, absolutely crush it. Ethereum, 1.8 million. That is nothing. That is nothing. Literally nothing. Can't wait. Can't wait. Confirmed transactions of what's on chain, 677,000. Let's have a look at the mining here. What's all this about? Mining Dutch 33.5, Tau 20.1, SA100 14.09, QD-Link 14.09, Kuve 10.72, and a Gorilla Pool 7.38. But look at that. Mining Dutch 33.56. Mining, yeah. Top of the mining leaderboards on BSV. So have the other miners reduced their hash rate and Mining Dutch just increased theirs? Like, what's gone on? I was trying to look for this on the charts here, but it won't. This chart is only on the 14th of September. So we need to find the hash rate on the 17th of September, because if Mining Dutch have increased theirs, we should be seeing an increase in the hash rate there, which would be very interesting to note. Very interesting. Right, anyway, that is a 30-minute show. And so we've just had to add this to the 17th of September. Clearly false, since we did fork it when it made sense to do so multiple times. Luke Dash Jr., look at that, in your face. Got that. You ain't got the balls, mate. Clearly false, since we did fork it when it made sense to do so multiple times. BTC is the fraud. It is the fork. BSV is the genuine Bitcoin. We'll leave it at that. Right, hope you enjoyed it, and as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.